Sunny 95.
Welcome to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, the show that brings you man-on-the-street interviews, celebrity guests, groundbreaking research, and heartwarming stories about the reasons we smile. Our show is also known as everything you've always wanted to know about dentistry, but were too numb to ask. Hello, I'm General Dentist Dr. Kvitko, and thank you for joining me today.
The following views and opinions do not necessarily reflect those of this station, its staff, management, or parent company. To hear a replay of this show or one of the great shows that previously aired, log on to thereasonswesmile.com or iTunes, keyword Dr. Kvitko or The Reasons We Smile. Listeners should not use Dr. Kvitko's comments and advice in place of an actual dental exam.
Brighten your life with a smile that shows the professional touch of Dr. Kvitko.
Time now for The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Call 459-9769 to discuss your dental issues. Now, here's your host, Dr. Kvitko.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to The Reasons We Smile. I'm Dr. Kvitko. Thank you so much for joining me. It's going to be a great show. This is episode number 463, if you're counting, and I am. And by the way, today's show is going to be about meth mouth, and meth mouth is the term we give to the condition that people who use methamphetamine, crystal meth, it affects their teeth horribly. And as you know, the show has, we do video of this show, and you can access all of the episodes, including video, at thereasonswesmile.com. I'm going to encourage you to maybe later today or tomorrow or Monday or Tuesday, whatever, is to go to thereasonswesmile.com and watch this show. And the reason I say that is because we have a lot of very poignant photographs, very poignant pictures. One in particular that I'm leaving up right away for quite a while here is a picture. It says, "One woman, 120 months of methamphetamine use. Any questions?" And so what it is it follows her face photo, her picture, for 10 years. And it's just amazing how she changes. And you wouldn't even know that it's the same person. All right? So remember, thereasonswesmile.com, you can go, and this is episode number 463. All right, now before we truly get started, let me just remind people that if you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Dr. Kvitko, or if you would please go to my office Facebook page and like us, that would be awesome. And I want to tell you a little bit about how this show came to be, the genesis of bringing you a show about meth mouth. It's interesting, because I was working on a patient at the office, maybe a month and a half ago, and a nice woman, and she said, I really, this is what years and years of drug abuse will do to your mouth. And I said, well, what drug did you use? And she said, crystal meth. And she says, and I spent $40,000 on my mouth in my lifetime. And she's, I think, maybe 58, 59 now. And what we were doing that day, guess what we were doing that day? We were extracting the remaining 8 teeth that she had. And we were going to be, we were making impressions for dentures. Okay? Isn't that awful? And that's when she finally decided that maybe she should do, she wanted to get the word out. She wanted to protect other people from having the same thing happen to them. Now, originally, she was going to be on the show because I told her, we have thousands and thousands of listeners, and she could get the word out because she wants to warn people. Well, unfortunately, she chickened out. And it is unfortunate because it would have been a much more powerful message had she not chickened out. And I tried to get her to, since we do the video, I think that's what scared her. And so then I said, okay, we won't have any camera on you. I'll just put a still picture of a silhouette up there. And then didn't hear from her. And then I said, well, how about you just send me an email with your story and I'll read it. And she just chickened out. Now, I don't know if it's chickening out. I don't know if it's the type behavior that people that are using these drugs exhibit. And we're going to learn a little bit about that now. But anyway, I guess I'll thank her for at least giving me the idea for the show, but it sure would have been nice to have her here in the studio. All right, so let's just talk. Crystal meth, also known as crystal methamphetamine, and informally as ice, tina, or glass, is a colorless form of D-methamphetamine, a powerfully addictive synthetic psychostimulant, okay? This odorless substance has a long-lasting euphoric effect on the user. In comparison with powdered methamphetamine, crystal meth is typically pure, has a longer lasting effect, and more powerful psychological impact. Crystal meth is named because it looks like shiny blue-white rocks or fragments of glass of varying sizes. And put simply, the chemical N-methyl-1-phenylpropane-2-amine is known as methamphetamine, and in its crystal form is known as meth. Now, by the way, let me just give props. This information is coming from an article I found from Medical News Today and written by Christian Nordquist. Okay? Here's some facts about crystal meth. Some of the key points. Crystal meth is one form of the drug methamphetamine. Crystal meth produces similar effects to cocaine, which is another illicit drug. Crystal meth increases the production of dopamine in the brain. Long-term use of crystal meth can lead to verbal problems and impaired motor skills. Crystal meth is often smoked in pipes. It can also be snorted, injected, swallowed, or ingested rectally. Ingested rectally? Think about that. I mean, what kind of condition are you in if you want to put something up your behind, right? I mean, I just can't even imagine that. And listen to and then there are a couple other ways I'll touch on here in a second. Regular users of crystal meth can experience a condition known as meth mouth, which is what we're doing the show about. Crystal meth is highly addictive, and withdrawal symptoms for crystal meth tend to be psychological. Okay? So this is a powerful drug, and if you're watching the show right now, is that picture of that one woman, 120 months. Look at the transformation in her from a nice-looking young lady to, oh my goodness, it looks like she's aged 30 years in 10. Okay, more than 85% of meth in the United States comes from super labs in California and Mexico. Mexican drug rings often use safe houses on Indian reservations to facilitate distribution into North Dakota. I'm going to be giving you a lot of, factoids, something. In fact, it's interesting because I thought, if my patient had done the show, I would have asked her, how do you get crystal meth? Where do you find it? How do you find? I mean, I know I'm living in a bubble, obviously, because I would not know how to find it. I mean, even if I went to a neighborhood that I might consider unsafe, I wouldn't know which ones are the drug dealers. I wouldn't know which ones are just kids standing around, or guys standing around. I wouldn't know. And so I typed into my computer, how do I find a meth dealer? And I thought, boy, if the Homeland Security people or the the DEA people ever come and look at my computer. But it was for this show. And so here's an article that came up by Jack Schaefer. And it sounds like he is more in favor of people being able to use the drug. No surprise there, right? But one of the things that he said was, here, if you live in Tennessee, Illinois, Minnesota, and were recently convicted of making methamphetamine, Tennessee adopted a methamphetamine offender registry in 2005, patterning its law after the sex offender registries now kept by all 50 states. The names of all new meth felons who made or sold the drug are stored in a public web database. So where they stay there for 7 years. Next came Illinois, whose law logs only meth manufacturers, and then also Minnesota governor mandated a Tennessee-style registry, and he promises his state's website will be containing the names, birth dates, and conviction information of meth offenders, and it will be, and then also Georgia, Oklahoma, and other states are considering meth registries. So inadvertently, it sounds like they've actually created a place where somebody who's looking for a meth dealer can find one, because they're not going to be in prison the whole time, so eventually they're going to be out, and they're going to be, I think that was kind of like ill-advised. But anyway, there's that, and if you are listening from the DEA, I only looked it up once. I'm not really looking to buy the drug. Okay, and by the way, these pictures of these rotten teeth that you're going to be seeing on the video cast are also awful. They're just terrible, and I see this, and it's almost impossible to fix these people up. So, and you might say, just like we always say, well, if I use it, it's not going to happen to me. Just like people who say, if I use it, I won't become addicted to it, so therefore I can try it. And it's just very powerful, and apparently people just almost can't control themselves, and they keep doing it. So, okay, now, so let me see. Crystal meth is often smoked in pipes. We mentioned that. And highly addictive. I want to make sure we cover all of the things that you might going to need to remember for when we do Dr. Kvitko's question of the day. I think I've covered them all, so that's good to know. And the other thing about methamphetamine production, it involves a number of easily obtained chemicals that are hazardous. So I'm not going to tell you how to make it. And every time I say how the media shouldn't be giving us that much information, the answer always seems to come back as, well, you can find it on the internet. Well, that's just as well. But unless you're looking, you're not going to find it on the internet. And I remember when we were, I don't know, they were talking on the evening news about if we were going to be attacked, which sites in Columbus would they want to bomb first? And they listed 11 of them. They even gave a map. And I said to my wife, I didn't know that. And now the crooks know that. You know, now the crooks know which buildings are sensitive and maybe should be taken out. Same thing goes as far as I'm concerned with making it easy to make these kind of drugs. But, you know, apparently, you know, some of the, and by the way, not only, so you can get these things. It's ether and lithium and acetone and anhydrous ammonia. But people are also concerned about, there is actually a protocol now for remediating a former meth lab site because of it being so caustic to the environment. So there's another, you know, nasty side effect of this. And so anyway, we, you know, what I want you to take out of the show is how dangerous this is for your oral health. Obviously, I'm a dentist, and I see this, and I don't want my patients, I don't want my listeners, don't want you guys to wind up like this. So pay attention. We're going to talk about a lot of aspects of this. You know, what is the scope of methamphetamine abuse? I actually interrupted myself when I started to mention those stats. We're going to talk about, I'm not going to tell you how it's manufactured, although I will mention a little bit what treatments are effective for people who abuse the drug. We're going to talk about that. What's the long-term effects of methamphetamine abuse? Let's see, we're going to talk about what are the immediate short-term effects of its abuse, you know, all of that, and even how does it differ from other stimulants such as cocaine. So we're going to get to that. But before we do, as you know, we do a Dr. Kvitko's question of the day each week. And before we do that, though, and by the way, the prize is going to be a free floral arrangement from DeSantis Florist. That is pretty awesome. And but before we do the contest, I'd like you to listen to this.
This station will not be held liable for any contesting during The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko. Participation in the contest allows Dr. Kvitko to record and broadcast your name and call. One winner per household. Prizes are non-transferable, cannot be substituted, and are subject to taxes and fees. This station cannot be responsible for the inability to enter the contest, whether due to equipment malfunction or telephone difficulties. All decisions of Dr. Kvitko concerning this contest or eligibility are final.
And now it's time for Dr. Kvitko's question of the day.
All right, and the question of the day is, which of the following are true about crystal meth? A, it is often smoked in pipes. B, regular users of crystal meth often experience meth mouth. C, crystal meth is highly addictive. Or D, all of the above. All right, the winner is going to receive a free floral arrangement from DeSantis Florist, delivered to your place of business this Tuesday afternoon. The number to call is 614-459-9769. That's 614-459-9769. So go ahead and call now.
Hi, I'm Keith Carlos, winner of America's Next Top Model and star of Chocolate City 2. Look for my smile on the big screen this summer, courtesy of Dr. Kvitko. Stay tuned to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, the world's most interesting dentist.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kvitko, general dentist and host of The Reasons We Smile radio and roadshow. Did you know that you no longer need to visit several different dental professionals to get more complete dental care? We handle everything from cleanings and orthodontics to restoration, implants, and smile makeovers, all in my office. And now we have 2 locations. Get the most advanced technology and procedures available today. It's more complete dentistry.
Visit worldsmostinterestingdentist.com for more info about Dr. Kvitko.
Dr. Kvitko, let's go! Hi, I'm Johanna, and I've been a dental patient at Dr. Kvitko and Associates for over 10 years. I would really recommend Dr. Kvitko for your family's dental care. They're friendly. They're always there to help me. I feel like family when I walk in the door. It's clean, it's comfortable. Even if I have to bring my kids, they have a great playroom for them. I know when I'm with Dr. Kvitko, they are taking that extra time to make sure that I'm going to be the healthiest I can be. They've been great. I love them.
Call Dr. Kvitko and Associates today, 614-262-9588. Hi, this is Richard Simmons. Dr. Kvitko's here, and he's going to help you with all of your problems. Are your teeth yellow? He can fix that. Are you missing a tooth? He can put a new one in. How is that?
That's very good. Thank you, Richard. All right, we're back. We're doing Dr. Kvitko's question of the day. We have Linda, Mary, another Mary, and Robert. And the dice came up number 3, which would be the second Mary. That would be line 3. Hello there. How are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Hi, Mary.
Hi.
Thank you for calling in. And do you have the answer to Dr. Kvitko's question of the day?
Great. It was D.
D, all of the above, which is meth is often smoked in pipes. Regular users of crystal meth often experience meth mouth, and crystal meth is highly addictive. Yes, that is correct. So, Mary, what do you do for a living?
I'm a receptionist.
Okay. At what kind of business?
A real estate office.
Okay. Awesome. Okay. Very good. Well, hey, then you're going to enjoy these flowers because they're going to be on your desk come Tuesday afternoon, won't they?
That's beautiful. That's so exciting.
Well, thank you so much for the call, and stay on the line so we can get the address and phone number, okay?
Thank you.
Perfect. All right. And for the other Mary and Linda and Robert, please try again next week because DeSantis Florist is wonderful to us, and they provide these free flowers. So, awesome. Okay. Now, I just realized that I've been talking a lot about crystal meth and methamphetamine, and I haven't really, and meth mouth, which is what the show's about, and I haven't really described to you what it does to the teeth, although I have all these pictures up on thereasonswesmile.com when you watch the video cast. Okay, so let me just tell you, people who use crystal meth, they get the worst batch of cavities you can imagine. I mean, the teeth just absolutely disintegrate. They just, it's acid attack, it's, oh my goodness! It's they get the munchies, and so they're drinking acidic foods. The acidicness of the acid in the methamphetamine itself, and so it's what we would normally call rampant decay. And so the outer coating gets affected, the enamel gets attacked, then the dentin gets affected, and there literally is no tooth structure left for us to build up. And in some cases where we try, and we can get it. You know, if there's enough that we can build up, and you'd be surprised, excuse me, what we can do, the person gets it again. They don't stop. They go back, they look us in the eye and say, yeah, I'm not doing that anymore. Can you fix my teeth? We fix their teeth. It costs them lots of money, or in some cases the parents will kick in because they feel so bad that their child is one of those folks that has succumbed to this disease or this abuse. And then it comes back because they're still doing it. So essentially, you put yourself in a situation where you will be toothless. You won't want to smile even on your good days because your teeth will be all brown and ugly and broken, and then that affects you're going to be in pain, and if you've used crystal meth, it affects your ability to have your pain controlled as well as it used to be because your body kind of gets adjusted to this, and it's just a terrible, terrible slippery slope. And of course, my suggestion is don't go there if you can avoid it. I mean, and it seems like you can, because the only thing that I would think that would make somebody try it for the first time would be peer pressure. And, don't succumb to peer pressure. Just say, no, I'm fine. No, I'm fine. I really don't need to do that. I'm happy in other ways. And you'll find, I believe, that a lot of times people that start using drugs like this, they maybe aren't happy. They're using it as an escape, because it does give you, apparently from reading, about 12 hours of euphoria. And then what happens is people feel so good during that, they go, well, I want that feeling again. But unfortunately, as time goes by, your body adjusts to it, and so you don't get quite the same euphoria, and it doesn't last for quite as long, and so you find yourself needing your next dose sooner, and your next dose sooner, and even sooner, and even sooner, to the point where you just, everything in your life just is revolving around getting your next fix. We've heard that story over and over. What we don't know or don't realize is how easy it would be for it to be us or one of our family members. And so, just do your best with the people around you to discourage them from ever using this. And they will probably thank you someday when they realize that some of their friends maybe are, and they see the transformation in that friend or those friends. Okay? So, again, meth mouth terrible when it comes to your teeth. And again, go to thereasonswesmile.com. Now, I said I was going to give you some stats, and I started, and then I interrupted myself. Didn't want to just have the show be a bunch of stats, but got to find the piece of paper that I was using. Okay, and as I mentioned before at the beginning of the show, this information, some of this is coming from the National Institute of Drug Abuse, and the other was coming from, let's see, I think I mentioned it was the Medical News Today or something like that. Yeah, I'll find it. Okay, so let's go back to some of the stats. In 2004, meth addiction statistics reported that 8,000 meth labs were seized in the U.S. Child welfare workers removed more than 3,000 children from the labs. These kids were living at the labs. I mean, we hear all the time of explosions and stuff at these labs, right? Because the chemicals are relatively caustic. According to the North Dakota Attorney General's Office, state legislation, which controlled sale of over-the-counter cold medicines like Sudafed, reduced the number of local labs significantly from 190 lab incidents in 2005 to 40 in 2006. So, and there's one of those ingredients. And again, I don't know how to make this stuff. Don't want to know how to make this stuff, and I don't want to. Don't want you to know how to make it either. Meth addiction statistics from treatment providers and meth users in Oregon, for example, report that people are using meth less frequently and not getting as high when they do. Studies have shown that fewer people use drugs when the purity is low and the price is high. More than 12 million Americans have tried methamphetamine, and 1.5 million are irregular users, according to federal estimates. That's a lot of people. I mean, especially when you figure that these people become dependent upon society to take care of them. You know, a lot of them turn to little petty theft so they can get money to buy their drugs, and then they're not taking care of their children. So then our welfare department has to do that, and they're usually not able to work. So they're on welfare, and we're providing their food and their shelter in a lot of cases. So this is costing us all. I think it's time. Yeah, we better go to a break before I get behind the 8 ball, which I'm almost behind. And so, hey, this is episode number 463. You're listening to The Reasons We Smile with Dr. Kvitko, and we'll be right back.
This is Clark Kellogg. Stay tuned for more of Dr. Kvitko.
Estás escuchando con Dr. Kvitko aquí en su estación favorita.
Hi, I'm Dominique Reichert. Like what you hear? Why not use the show to promote your product or service by becoming a sponsor? Call 614-262-9588 to learn how. That's 614-262-9588. Call now.
Hi, I'm Dr. Kvitko, general dentist and host of the Reasons We Smile radio and roadshow. I've been honored to help several famous people get a perfect smile, like Keith Carlos and Dominique Reigard from America's Next Top Model, and Ted the Golden Voice Williams from right here in Columbus. Isn't it time you had a celebrity smile? It costs less than you might think, and most of the time, it can be done in one visit. A new smile can make a world of difference.
Visit worldsmostinterestingdentist.com for more info about Dr. Kvitko.
I'm Grandpa, and I go to Dr. Kvitko, and I still have all my teeth. Real ones. Where's my glasses?
All right, we're back. I'm Dr. Kvitko. This is The Reasons We Smile. It is episode number 463. It's called Meth Mouth and the terrible effects that it has on, when you use crystal meth, the terrible effects that you get in your oral cavity. And so who uses crystal meth? Crystal meth is typically used for its euphoric effect by young adults who frequent dance clubs and parties. Some people may take crystal meth because it can lead to rapid weight loss, even though this effect tends to be short-lived. The moment someone stops using the drug, most of the lost weight will return. The body also gradually becomes tolerant to crystal meth, reducing weight loss over time. Some people prefer crystal meth to other illicit drugs because of the sense of euphoria it gives, which I said can last for up to 12 hours, a much longer effect than cocaine, a drug with similar effects. People with depression may choose to take crystal meth for its uplifting effect. Others may be attracted by the increased libido and sexual pleasure often associated with this drug. So you can kind of see why people kind of want to give it at least a try, but because it's illegal, health authorities are unsure exactly how many people take it. One study conducted by the University of Michigan The Monitoring the Future survey estimated that almost 5% of high school seniors in the U.S. had tried crystal meth at least once, with 3% using the drug during the previous 12 months. That's kind of scary. Now, remember I said some of the ways that people take it, and one was like in their anus? This report says in their urethra. Do you guys know what that is? That's when you pee. Who would want to put something up that? I mean, purposely, you know? It just tells me that people are doing crazy things. This makes you act crazy. It must. So what does it do to the body? It boosts the release and stops the reuptake of neurotransmitters called dopamine. Dopamine plays an important role in motor function, motivation, reward, and how the brain experiences and interprets pleasure. The dopamine rush in the reward centers of the brain gives the user a sense of euphoria soon after taking the drug. Taking crystal meth causes a buildup of dopamine in the brain, a common feature of many abuse drugs. People who abuse crystal meth experience considerable changes in how their brains function. According to the National Institutes of Health, brain imaging studies on chronic methamphetamine abusers found that their dopamine system activity had changed in such a way as to seriously compromise their verbal learning and motor skills. Research has also found that crystal meth can severely affect brain areas linked to the emotion and memory, both structurally and functionally. This impact may explain why so many chronic crystal meth abusers develop emotional and cognitive difficulties. People who repeatedly use crystal meth have a high risk of becoming addicted. Some brain changes caused by crystal meth remain long after the user has stopped taking the drug. Experts believe that these brain changes do reverse after long periods of abstinence of at least a year. I mean, it takes over a year for some of those effects to, go away. So here are some physical effects of using crystal meth. Abnormal heart rhythms, called arrhythmia. Abnormal rapid heartbeat, called tachycardia. Abnormally slow heartbeat, or bradycardia. Think about that. It can either slow your heart down or it can speed up your heart. Acne, and you'll see that in those photos that I mentioned. All right? Anorexia, meaning they don't eat. Blurred vision. Constipation. Diarrhea. Isn't it weird? You can be constipated or get diarrhea. It's the weirdest thing. I guess it just does all kinds of crazy things in different ways to different people. Dilated pupils, dizziness, dry mouth, dry skin. And by the way, dry mouth helps with the meth mouth thing, because when you dry up saliva, which is kind of a natural cleansing and protective layer for teeth, you then get the cavities we talked about. Dry skin, elevated body temperature called hypothermia, flushing, headache, heart palpitations, high blood pressure or hypertension, hyperactivity, insomnia, itchy skin, low blood pressure, which is hypotension. So it can either give you hypotension or hypertension. Numbness, pale skin, profuse sweating, rapid breathing, restlessness, twitching, and tremors. In chronic cases, or when doses are very high, crystal meth can cause convulsions, stroke, heart attack, and even death. Isn't that awful? Why do people use this stuff? It's just crazy. Crazy, crazy. So, and here's a quote from a Dr. Brian Schwab, a general dentist and member of the Pennsylvania Dental Association. He said, quote, "The ill effects of methamphetamine use on the oral cavity is particularly profound. As healthcare professionals, we need to think outside the box and treat not only the patient's dental needs, but also address their social, psychological, and emotional needs so that an individual with addiction can access treatment. Dentists need to be a member of the addiction healing team, the addiction treating team, not just repairing the effects of the dentition." He went on to say, "Many people believe that methamphetamine use is isolated to the inner cities and suburbs, but the truth is that the drug abuse reaches into every crevice of the nation. A dentist anywhere can and will encounter a patient who abuses methamphetamine, and we all need to be well versed in its side effects and treatment protocols." All right, it looks like I'm just about out of time, so I guess time to get off my soapbox, but this is really important, people. You really need to do this, and if you know somebody that's in it, tell them they need to get some help, and help them get the help that they need. All right, so thank you so much. If you would please follow me on Twitter at Dr. Kvitko, and go to my office Facebook page and like us, that would be often. Be sure to tune in next week and every week right here on your favorite station. Goodbye.
This is Carly Red from Love and Hip Hop Atlanta, the hit show on VH1, urging you to tune in next week with my dentist, Dr. Kvitko.
If you're interested in learning more about this and other dental health topics, go to thereasonswesmile.com to access full episodes of Dr. Kvitko's show.
If you'd like Dr. Kvitko, the world's most interesting dentist, to speak at your next event, please call 614-262-9588. That's 614-262-9588, or send an email to speaking@thereasonswesmile.com.